Now, again, as I travel around, I go on a lot of company tours. And as we move through the production line or some area, I can see everyone cleaning up, straightening up, smiling, dancing around. And then if you look back after we've been in there, they go right back to the way they were doing it. Unfortunately, that's what happens when people like personnel directors tour through the production line operation. They don't see the reality of people, the way they work, the way they think, the way they feel, the way their values are operating on the job. We need to bring people in contact with the data of the real world, and that will help those people make effective decisions today. Another major value strongly held by the traditionalists is formality. They are very formal in the way they relate to one another, in the way they communicate, in the way they dress. In contrast, rejectionists are very informal. They're just real, laid-back, casual, as a matter of fact. Again, that's reflected, as our values are reflected, in the way we dress. Not long ago, I did a management development program for a major international bank. It was billed as the first informal management program for this banking group. So in Los Angeles, the Century Plaza Hotel, 700 people file into the auditorium, and the room divided up according to the way they were dressed, because they could spot one another. The traditionalists were all wearing their three-piece suits, but no tie. The in-betweeners and a few rejectionists looked like hell. They looked terrible. A couple of them were in jogging clothes. Some of them had on tennis shorts, a couple of skateboards. Hell, they were going out after the meeting to have fun. They weren't going to mess around. These people were all dressed up. I would be willing to bet big money that these people had their tie in their pocket just in case the president had his tie on. They were going to whip it out and put it on because they weren't going to upset him. The way we dress, the way we work, the way we play, everything is rooted in our gut level values. Major aspects of life differ in terms of the way things should be done and the way things feel comfortable with being done. For example, weddings. Now think about weddings. Weddings used to be very important. Of course, when you do it a lot, or when you don't bother to do it, it becomes less important. When the traditionalists got married, you knew what was going to happen in a wedding. There was an authority figure that conducted the ceremony. Priest, rabbi, minister, candles burned, gladiolas crawled across the altar, everyone cried on cue, they were all dressed appropriately. They promised to love, cherish, honor, and one of them obey during the ceremony. Well, if the rejectionists bothered to get married, and by the way, a lot of them didn't, did you know just recently the United States Census Bureau said they were really not effectively counting approximately 1.7 million people in our society because those people did not fit into the traditional categories of married, single, divorced, etc. The Census Bureau didn't know what to do with just a general shack-up, experimenting category of people. And so they sort of lost 1.7 in the shuffle. Well, if these people got married, they did it in very unusual ways. Not too long ago, I went to a rejectionist wedding in Boulder, Colorado. Held up on top of a mountain. I mean, here we are, out in the damn woods, climbing around. These people were all dressed up, coat, tie, white gloves. We got up to the top. The wedding party looked like hell. None of the dresses matched. It was early Salvation Army. During the ceremonies, one of the girls got sick, went up, threw up over the cliff, came back. They just kept right on going, never missed a beat, never paid any attention. Two girls jumped out of the bushes wearing these little leotards and danced around like nymphs, then jumped back into the bushes. People were really not believing what was going on. We don't know who conducted the ceremony, but the guy was wearing an Aztec robe and did a lot of mumbo-jumbo. And they did not promise to love, cherish, honor, and obey. They signed a 5-year contract with renewable options. The traditional parents cried, but for non-traditional reasons. And they still drink heavily. Every time you bring it up, they grab a drink. They just can't believe it happened. Again, what's important to us, what feels good, feels bad. All those things are rooted in our gut-level value system. And there is a very different value view of the world between the traditionalist formality and the rejectionist laid-back informality. Okay, another value held by the traditionalists directly related to work is work for work's sake. They are there. They are dressed right. They say the right things, do the right things, climb the ladder as they're supposed to. Now, the rejectionists, they don't like to work. They really don't. They're looking for something else from work. But these people love work. They identify with their work. You ask these people, who are you? And they say, I'm a chemist, I'm an accountant, I'm a production engineer, they are their job. That is their identity. You ask the rejectionist, who are you? And they say, I'm Morris, I'm Steve, I'm Sarah, I'm Judy, I'm me. I'm a human being. Pay attention to me. Look at me as an individual and treat me on that basis. Their job is only a small portion, a very small portion in some cases, of their total life. So consequently, it's not a big identity factor. Rejectionists do not look for identity on the job, but they do look for some very important things from their point of view. One of those things is self self-fulfillment. Self-fulfillment. They are looking for themselves on the job, looking for meaning in their job. They're trying to find themselves. Now, if you tell a traditional manager that he is going to have to provide self-fulfillment for his younger employees, he's going to go, self-fulfillment, my rear, there's a job to do, now get out there and do it. But these people keep trying to find themselves. And we can give meaning to work if we will pay attention to how to communicate with these people about the meaning of their work. In addition to self-fulfillment, these people also want to have fun. They think jobs should be fun. Life has been fun for these people. It was fun at home, it was fun at school, it was fun on the playground. It's just been fun, fun, fun. And so on the job, they want to have fun. You can goose some of these people and they won't have fun. I mean, they're deadly serious. We all better be here on time, be dressed right, say and do the right thing, and we got to worry and fret a lot. We don't have fun around here. Why can't we have fun on the job? You know, not too long ago in the media, there was a report of a secretary in a major corporation who sat on the new Xerox machine. She just took one picture, just one shot. These people over here didn't think that was funny at all. They fired her ass right there on the spot. Boom, she was gone. I mean, that was not funny. You don't go around sitting on the Xerox machine. But these people are just having fun. Production line. Look at the stereotyped American production line. It's something like the automotive industry. These people are put on those production lines, and they did their job. They stood there, and the doors were going by, and they went ba-dam, 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 ba-dam. These people come on the production line, and they're standing there, and the doors are going by, and they go ba-dam, 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 ba-dam. Or a door goes by, and they watch it go by. Or a door goes by, and they drop an empty beer bottle in it, and it goes on off, and they think some turkey's going to buy that big thing, and it'll rattle around, and they're just having fun. They're just enjoying themselves on the job. You know, I know of no rule, no reason why we can't have fun on the job. We are so worried about productivity in America right now. You know, everything's down and we're falling behind the Japanese and all this is going on. I'll tell you how people can become more productive, will become more productive. That is if they enjoy what they're doing, if they have fun on the job. Now, granted, we don't want to get to a silly level on the whole thing, but there is absolutely no reason why people should not be allowed to enjoy what they're doing. And if they do enjoy, they will be more productive. Work for work's sake, identity versus self-fulfillment fun. Another value that's strongly held by the traditionalists related to work is stability. They love stable systems. No change. This is the way we've always done it. By God, this is the way we're going to continue to do it. Change is a threat. It is a threat to their economic security. So if you start changing things on them, then they get very upset. These people all their lives have been looking for the right way to do it. What I call the perfect form mentality. They believe, like there is a holy grail out there, that there is a perfect form that can be developed. And we're all going to fill it out, and it's going to go on file and on the computer, and life will flow smoothly forevermore. These people do not want stability. They love change. They throw a monkey wrench in the system. They get bored very easily. For these people, change is a constant. If they don't get change, they seek change. They change their hobbies, they change their sports, they change their heroes, they change their partners, they change everything because they get bored very easily. And these people keep going, oh, we just got it all right, and now they're screwing it up again back here because they aren't doing what everybody should do. Again, unless we can justify what we are doing in terms of stability, the need to continue doing that, then perhaps we should change it. Very realistically, for most people in today's world, if they change something, especially in the way they do their job, maybe what will happen is not total disaster, but the job will be done better, more effectively, more productively. Now, a lot of people are reluctant to change because they fear that there's going to be major turmoil. That's ridiculous. Look at most jobs. Again, most jobs, changing the way they're done, is not going to trigger some sort of chaos. For most people in the world, we are not going to trigger World War III if we change the way we do our jobs. We can't trigger World War III, but I know where you can trigger World War III. And that is the duplicating room at the University of Colorado. Because we have a 58-year-old troll that has been running that operation for 20 years. And by God, she has a system. And we follow that system. You stand in line, you genuflect 3 times, fill out the right form, turn it in. Maybe 2 hours later, you'll get something back. I know a lot of these people who would say, let's put the machine out in the hall and get something done around here. But no, by God, we've got a system. That's the way we've always done it. That's the way we're going to continue it. There's a tremendous resistance to change with a lot of traditionalists because it threatens what they are actually looking for. The threat is against their economic security on the job. If any symbol represents these people, it's this symbol, the dollar sign. If any symbol represents these people, it's this symbol, the little happy face. Have a nice day. They think they invented the concept of having a nice day. These people say, I'll have whatever the hell kind of day I want to have. It's my day. By God, you just better leave it alone. We all got to be here on time, be dressed right, have our hair cut, and do the right thing. That's the way we have a nice day. But if at the end of the day they made money, then they had a nice day too. Because of our differing values, we seek different things from the job. Another closely related job value is that of problem orientation. Oh, they love problems.